Hold on, let me put my mask on. Hi, everybody.
You don't have to put your mask on here. This is your show.
This is our show.
I mean, yes, but this
show.
is in the realm of where you're at now. Like, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
You're right. So, yeah, I think people really know who we are at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, hi, everybody.
Hello.
How are we doing? Happy Monday. My name's Jaron.
My name's Lars.
Our pronouns are he, him.
And we are your hosts of
Typically Divergent
Podcast.
Pew, 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 pew. Here's a jingle that's going to exist at some point.
Do we just create it?
Well, I've been thinking about that.
I have been too.
But I'm like, give me vocal stem for me. Give me some stuff. But that is what you're doing right there. Our vocal stems and stuff, a lot of them are already like of other things. And so I don't want to get in trouble for like copywriting, But I have thought about it and I'm just...
It's a hard thing.
It's a hard thing. It cannot be on my plate right now of us creating a jingle doing that.
I understand.
However...
But it is on my brain. Just to know that I think about it all the time.
Okay, good. Because I do too. Is your phone on airplane mode?
Yes.
Okay. I heard a little... But it's probably just general static of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ghosts. What are those?
It's John.
Gross. Electronic frequency waves, EFWs. Is that what those are? Where they pick up ghost stuff on...
I should know this because I love watching that fake shit.
Have you seen Kesha's paranormal thing?
No.
Girl, I'm sorry, Kesha. I love you. And that first episode was dumb AF. And I was like, I'm done. She had somebody that came on. I didn't even know who she was, but she was talking about, she was talking to the ghost. And the conversation, she was like, oh, was it because you were actually a girl? Oh, were you trans? Yeah, I'm sure that's really hard. And Nicholas goes, of course she's saying that because that's like a big...
Yep.
That's like part of her platform at that moment.
Yep.
And so it was like, obviously this is not real.
Right.
But they started throwing the D words around. And I was
Jesus.
like, hey, I do not want to watch this anymore. I'm spooked.
Hey, boy. Hey, demon, it's your boy.
Hey, demons, it's your boy. EFTs, electronic frequency.
I think that's it. That sounds close enough.
That sounds about right.
I used to love Ghost Adventures until I found out some things about Zach Bagans.
Zach Baggins.
Baggins.
What is it? Tell me.
There was a guy who came forward who used to be part of the old Ghost Hunters.
Okay.
He came forward and kind of lifted the veil on some things.
Oh.
And
he came clean.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought
not necessarily came clean, but like talked a little bit about how he was treated.
Not like how they staged stuff in the show?
I didn't watch the whole thing because he did a live.
Oh.
On not Twitter, but TikTok.
Oh.
And he answered questions from people.
So this is recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
He challenged some things.
Okay.
And they weren't accepting of it. Mm. And they basically just asked him to leave the show.
That's sad.
But there was some other things about Zach that came about that I read from actual people on Twitter.
Uh-huh. He
made up this whole story about Bela Lugosi's mirror.
Okay.
Do you know who Bela Lugosi is?
No.
I love him. We have the same birthday.
Okay.
He is the original Dracula.
Oh.
So like when you see like movies. Those old... Yes.
Oh,
yes. He's like the picturesque Dracula that you see like in a lot of like the classic horror films.
Yeah. The one that I don't look at because he is that scary.
Are you thinking of Nosferatu? Where his nails are really long.
Yes.
That's Nosferatu.
Oh.
That's a silent film.
Oh.
So Bela Lugosi's after Nosferatu. So you know how Zach has like in Las Vegas, he has like that haunted museum.
Yes.
Which I would still like to go to.
And he's
regardless.
Got that thing.
But there's a mirror.
The Dybbuk box.
The Dybbuk box.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Here's the line. I'm not gonna. I don't mind talking about it, but like, I don't give a whole lot of energy to that kind of stuff because it's real. Bella apparently had this mirror.
Okay.
And Zach took this mirror got it from like either a estate sale or the family or somebody got a hold of it, and he took it into the Haunted Museum and made up a whole fucking fake story about it. He claimed that Bela Lugosi was a part of the occult, and he never was.
Okay.
And said that he used it for scatting.
Pooping?
No, it's where you look into a mirror and you try to talk to. And so he made up this whole elaborate story about how he used it for that, and you can still see him in the mirror, and like it's haunted and blah blah blah. None of it's true. The Bela Lugosi family hasn't even like verified it or anything. Like he made the whole fucking thing up.
Scrying.
I was close. But yeah, so after that, I was just like, screw you, messing with Bella. I love him. He was an awesome actor.
Okay, so now that I looked up his photo,
yeah,
he looks like the Monsters.
Yeah, he does.
The Monster Mash.
Yeah, he looks similar to that.
Yeah.
He was in like the era of, I think, 1930s and 40s was like his era.
Okay.
So he was creepy anyway.
Okay.
Anyway.
Dozer, you're overstimulating me.
Don't you have something else you could play with? Like a bone? Like a dog?
No, because we don't do the bones after like the whole rawhide situation.
Well, I thought that
out.
Maybe he had like a Nyla bone or something that he used. Like
is that something that would break?
Bone.
Oh, plastic?
Yeah.
No. Anything that's blue, it's all him. Because dogs can only see on a blue,
they can see blue, yellow, red,
green. Yeah.
That's why Toad's, a lot of his stuff is red. And Cabbage's, a lot of stuff is blue.
How was his birthday?
It was good. We never made cupcakes, by the way.
Okay.
So I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I completely didn't even reach out to you. But
no, it's okay. I decided I didn't get to go to the gym during the afternoon time that I wanted to on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided right when I finished work at fucking 5 o'clock, that I was like, well, I'm going to go to the gym. And if anybody goes to a gym at 5 o'clock on a Friday, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But then I was like, if I'm not home, he'll just drop it off on the door. And then when I came home and I didn't see anything, I was like, oh well, they probably just didn't do it. So
the cats came up.
And the raccoon.
Raccoon.
And Petty I don't fucking know. What's the thing that I'm afraid of that Jenny keeps saying that it's okay?
There's a lot of things, Jaron.
It's not a raccoon. It looks ugly. They
possum?
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
We've given them a name, but it changes every time I bring them up. So Patrick, I think that's what it most recently was. Patrick the possum. He hasn't been around in a while, so.
They're very good at hiding. They're pretty good.
Not that one. It fucking not shits. It sits on our porch.
He probably does shit on your porch.
I know. He sits on our porch underneath the chairs.
That's right. He's the one that he didn't even move when you
scares the fuck out of us every time we're out there.
Well, then he's a different type of possum.
Yeah.
But
Special.
Cabbage's birthday was good. Jenny made homemade burgers.
Okay.
And he got a pup cup and a car ride. And we went to Lowe's and we picked out his flowers.
Did you take Toad with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was a whole family event.
Yeah, it was a whole family affair. He picked out zinnias, which is like part of the daisy flower family.
Yeah.
And they're really pretty and they're red, so he could see it.
Oh, okay.
So he actually started like nibbling on these flowers. I was like,
Christ.
He loves flowers.
Like, bud, quit fucking eating them. Like, how are you going to enjoy flowers if they're always in your stomach?
And some child at Lowe's pulled the fire alarm.
That's my child.
And it was excruciating.
The sound?
Yeah.
Remember being a kid in the fire drills and everybody like screaming and getting all excited and the teachers being like, shut the fuck up.
It's just a fucking drill.
It's just a drill, everybody. Just so you know, we are going to have a drill later today. So, like, why tell me we're having a fake one if, like, you don't want me to act like it's real? Because, bitch, I
remember the tornado drills?
Putting my head, I think that's why I have so many neck problems. Everybody stay quiet. Keep your head between your between your crotch up against the walls.
You know what else I hated? I'm unlocking so many memories today.
Level 3 lockdowns.
Do you remember Mr. Potter? He was a science teacher. He like really had the respect. Like people, like the kids respect him because he was always on our level. Yeah. Always. Anyway, he had the really like the perfect classroom if we had a shooter because inside his classroom is a cubby. Like not a cubby. It's like an extra classroom.
Oh.
So it's hiding behind the door.
He would just
So he would tell us to go in there.
Okay.
Now you have to have a bucket in your classroom because did you see that they're giving schools buckets so people can piss and shit in it? Because that's easier than just gun reform.
If there are any parents out there listening to this, I don't know how.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't know how you guys deal with that.
And how some moms on TikTok are talking about how they're buying their children backpacks with bulletproof.
Yes. I bet the NRA's got their money dipped in that.
Oh, sure.
Like, oh, we'll fund you for those. Actually, you know what? Just give us 30% and we'll pay for everything. We'll get your startup costs, everything going.
Yeah.
We'll get you the patents. Ugh.
Yeah.
Disgusting. God, I hate this country so much.
Meanwhile, Switzerland's is like, you okay?
Why do you guys want guns so bad? What's so interesting about those? Okay, so
anyway, this is turned into whoa.
So on to the next segment of today's episode. I don't know if I'm going to cut out the part where I told Lars that I might cry on this episode. I've got some funny stuff to hit you with.
Okay.
Before I bring everybody down. I had therapy yesterday.
Should we do reverse?
Reverse. Yeah. But Jaron has been really fucking depressed, and depressed is not the name of a person. So I hope that made somebody laugh, because, you know, like, what are you doing? I'm fucking stupid, you know?
Oh boy.
Maybe that was just a straight man joke. Any straight men out there, if you're still listening, let us know what you think about that one. Do the gays got it? Padam. So I mentioned last week that my energy was really low and that I was fine. And I think maybe I've even mentioned a couple times on this podcast, a couple times throughout the last couple months, that been going through it in some sort of way. A lot of times I'm like, I'm at a 6 or a 7 and I'm happy and things are fine. But like deep down, I have been really sad. Really, really sad. And oh my God, Apollo, you are coming to
welcome.
Listen. Oh, actually, you know what? Apollo, I'm going to tell everybody the story. Okay. So here's a break. Apollo is the heavier set of the two cats.
So cute.
He is the chunk of the two. And
he's a redhead.
He's a redhead. Yep. He's just like his father. Mm-hmm. Apollo came into the kitchen after already being fed. He's on the counter. Nicholas and I go in there, and Nicholas turns and goes, Apollo? And I went, what happened? And he goes, Apollo was sitting on the counter. And I went, you fat fuck, get off there. And Nicholas goes, don't call him that. I said, don't gaslight me. You call him fatty all the damn time. And he goes, well, yeah, because fatty is short for Fatisha or Fatusha.
Oh, no.
And I said, no, you call him fatty all the time. I just fucking fed him. He doesn't need to be on the counter. There is nothing on the counter for him to eat.
Oh, no.
So now that Apollo has left out of the room, he's embarrassed about the story. And that's one of the two cats in the house.
He's cute.
Okay. Anyway, so I have been sad. I've had a lot of like episodes of mania over the last year or so with being in therapy and thinking like I'm fine. And there was a time where I was like, man, I don't think I even need to go to therapy. I learned EMDR. I can do EMDR by myself, and I'm doing those things. But at the core of my heart, I am very sad. And a lot of factors come into mind that might possibly be the reason why I'm sad. Lars knows this, I believe. There have been times when like I think that I need to like end my relationship with Nicholas. I think that sometimes I just want to like quit my job as a hairdresser, and the part of me that is a saboteur says, get rid of everything, and then you won't have to know which of the things it was that you had to put the work into to keep around. But hey, all of those things that you mentioned, at least you get rid of all of them instead of sticking around to find out, to see if it was going to be beneficial if you worked on them one at a time. Mm-hmm. Lately, I've been like following a lot of neurodivergent creators on TikTok, and a lot of them follow, they have similar characteristics like what we do. And some characteristics of CPTSD resemble similar characteristics and attributes of like autism. And like the one thing that like really pops up within like the autism spectrum that I'm like really experiencing is like I'm really starting to go nonverbal.
Okay.
And I'm really shutting down. I don't want to speak to people. I don't want to talk. And a lot of my job involves talking. I mean, I'm a hairdresser, you know? And I told her that I'm starting to go nonverbal, and she goes, okay. And I said, and I'm having a harder time masking even in a text message. And when people come in and they're like, you know, so how are you doing? And like, what's new? And I'm like, there's nothing new. And how in 4 or 5 weeks that I've seen you, nothing is new in your life. And I think in my head, well, there are things that are new. I just don't want to talk about them because I really don't care to share those things. And honestly, I don't give a flying fuck about listening to you talk about your life. I'm sick of it. I don't want to be around people anymore. But that is my job, is dealing with people. And she immediately goes, okay, so you're withdrawing. You're withdrawing from society. It's okay. Again, part of like the saboteur, and I told her, you and I have talked about this, you know, sometimes my anxiety and stuff gets so bad where I'm like, just get rid of the relationship, get rid of the job, get rid of everything. And, you know, again, like at least I eliminated the problem. And I said, but, you know, I thought about like getting a new career where it's just like, I am just like physically working, but I don't want to like have to communicate with people. But what does that look like? And that's really something that's going to be like a career or a job that I don't really like want. And so one of my negative core beliefs is that like, I'm worthless or I'm useless. And if I am not being up to some sort of standard of our elders of what they think productivity is, then like I am not worth any of that. And she goes, okay, so it looks like we're gonna need to work on that again in EMDR. And I said, fine, that's great, but I'm not here for that today. I just want somebody to listen to me talk about these things. Mm-hmm. We've talked about some things that I can do to make some small changes to see if any of that will fix things. We talked about pivoting. She was like, you know, people pivot all the time. It's fine. But the thing is that you will be pushed into a corner that gets so tight that you can't stand it anymore before you finally decide to do so. And Jaron, I don't think that I am at that point yet. Mm-hmm. Again, the saboteur says, let's just fucking pivot everything.
Yeah.
But I have grown up mentally and emotionally more than that. So I don't want to do that because I don't want to make a big mistake. And I told her, I said, and I'm so fucking depressed. And I was listening to a Ladies and Tangents episode a couple weeks back. They were talking about finding your why. And I told her that, like, you know, you and I on the podcast have talked about being content. And like, you know, again, like we don't particularly want to be like happiness is something to shoot for, but it's not attainable for long term. Yeah, it's not a state of being. Mm-hmm. And she said, you know, we as humans have a natural need to be back in stasis, which is, you know, being, you know, something that's comfortable. Mm-hmm. And content is good, but that's because content says I'm okay if I don't have it anymore. And I said, yeah, like I am okay with a lot of those things in my life. So I'm not so upset about everything that's going on that I want to get rid of all of it, you know? So like, again, we're seeing some cracks in the light of some light coming through some cracks of some things. Mm-hmm. She said, when did you think that you started noticing this? And I said, well, now that I know more about who I am and like looking back at my younger self, and even if I'm being given like late stage diagnoses with a lot of things, after the traumatic event of my drug-induced psychosis in September, that's when I really just I couldn't put on the face anymore. I couldn't put on the smile. I couldn't pretend that I was neurotypical anymore. Mm-hmm. And since then is when I really started to notice a decline in my business because, again, you know, I'm showing my true colors, and some people don't like that, or I've made some mistakes, or maybe I've made mistakes with people or a service or financial business mistakes, or maybe people they want somebody who is exciting and like brings that like therapy aspect of the appointments, and people say, you know, like, oh, you could stick around with a hairdresser that you don't like, but they could be giving you bad services, but you know, it's the relationship that you really want to stay true to. Like, that's what keeps people coming. And I'm not being myself with people anymore, and that's okay that I'm like losing these people. And then, you know, over the years, all of these things have just really started to come down like this valley into where I'm at now. Mm-hmm. And she said, okay, well, you know, you have been in therapy for almost a year now, and you are grieving. Mm-hmm. And she goes, Jaron, I really hate to say this to you because I hate saying this to all my patients, but you're at a point where you have to suffer. Then I broke down and I started crying, and it was like, oh, thank God I'm getting this out, because I've talked to her, and I think with you, about, I have these, I can feel a cry in my chest, and I just can't let it out. But I feel like if I do something, or if I watch a movie or listen to a song, it'll be able to get it to come out. And I've talked to Erica about that. And then so back to the finding your why, she said sometimes people who are in therapy, when they get to this point in their life, they have to stop searching for happiness. So again, that stasis, grabbing onto things to prevent us from getting to this point where I'm at now. And she said, sometimes your why is to be present in this moment and to suffer, and you have to. And I said, I don't want to do this. And she said, I know you don't, Jaron. I hate seeing all of my patients do this, but you have to do this. And she goes, I promise you that you will, no matter how bad it is right now, it'll never get this bad again.
And you'll come out of it, and you're going to be right back here, and then you're gonna think, I'm so glad I didn't do what I thought I needed to do.
Yeah,
because then you'll wake up and it'll be like, oh, so I've been there before.
Because man, the thing that makes me think that I needed to like end my relationship with Nicholas is because I wake up in that bed next to him every morning, and the second my eyes open up, I am just fucking sad. And I've been relating that to my relationship with him, when really it's not him. It's not him. It's not any of these things in my life. It is a point in my journey of healing and grieving. And that's the thing. I don't even know what I'm fucking grieving. Maybe it's the person that I thought I was going to be. Maybe it's my past relationship that I've come to more acceptance that it was not healthy. It was not bad, but it's a mix of a lot of goods and bads, but really like at the core of it, it just needed to not move forward anymore. And since that night, I used to tell him, my ex, I'm not going to say his name. I would tell him, like, I think a part of me died that night in that house. Maybe I'm grieving that person. Maybe I'm grieving a childhood that I didn't have. And even then I didn't have a bad childhood. Or maybe, and she said, maybe, you know, you're grieving the loss of like the relationship with your mom. And I was like, you're right. I haven't even had that conversation with her yet, because I'm just not ready to be like, hey, this is where things need to be at. And I'm tired of reaching for things to make me feel good. And she goes, I know you want to go back to doing drugs. Please don't do that. And I was like, you know, it's funny that you say that, because in the last week at my job, where I'm a professional, I have brought up maybe 2 handfuls of times to different clients how bad I miss being fucked up on drugs. Or I would find a reason to let that out of my mouth. Like, man, I do miss me some cocaine. I do miss being so messed up out of my mind that I don't know what's up and down, and time just goes by, and you need to sit with this. And also like maybe some of this hurt is hurt that I've been holding on to much longer than 13 years that I've been smoking pot, you know, that I've been avoiding by getting high all day. That's where I'm at right now.
Well, I'm glad that you felt empowered enough to tell me, and to everyone else who's listening.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's important to hear that side of the human experience. There are going to be other valleys that you'll encounter, and I hope that when the next one comes,
I know valleys will come, but I don't believe that they will be this hard. because I told her, now that I've been interacting with my inner teenager lately, I look at him and I tell him, buddy, you were suicidal. You were depressed. You thought you had anxiety. You don't know what any of that is until you hit 31. Because God, this hurts. So even though we tell everybody, hey, go to therapy, know that you are going to hit a point like this. And it's really important to have a support system. And right here, Lars has been my biggest support system. I really appreciate all that you've done for me.
I love you. I think the universe has a interesting way of connecting those that need it to one another.
I don't want you to ever leave me.
I can't.
I've had too many people come into my life for reasons and seasons, and I just want you to stay.
I'm not going anywhere. I am not easily to be rid of.
Okay. Like that wart, like that wart on the bottom of your foot.
I'm a fighter for people who I love.
I know.
I don't give up easily.
Anyway, this is a lot. How are you? How are you?
I think that was good. It was good for you. That's what the show's about, right?
God, I hope so. I hope y'all are still around. And if you are still around in a couple of years from now when we're doing this and getting paid and it's a career.
And have celebrity guests.
And celebrity guests. And we're celebrities in your guys' eyes. Like I look at Jerry and Sierra.
Imagine.
We can all look back and be like, wow, remember when you were so sad, Jaron? You're such a sad old sourpuss. Happy
old
Pride.
30-year-old man.
31. Almost 32.
31. I keep forgetting how old I am.
I feel like 9/11 was going to happen regardless of what timeline we were on.
Yeah.
Anyway, we really need to stay on track.
Yes,
because I got funny shit to talk about, and it's fucking Pride Month, you guys.
I know, we're like all like Debbie Downers, but
if you're still listening, thank you.
My mental health earlier this week was not good.
Okay.
I know where you're coming from to an extent. Like, I understand. But I'm a lot better today. I kind of dug myself out of a hole. One of the negative core beliefs that I have that I'm struggling right now is that I'm a failure. I haven't felt that in a long time.
Okay.
And I talked to Erica about it, and we did some EMDR on it. It feeds into I'm responsible for everything. It feeds into my needs aren't being met, things like that. So it's kind of coming from everywhere. But when that happens, you know what I always do? I go get some fucking ice cream. And Jenny was like, let's go get ice cream. Because I always do. And we get into the car, we get to Zesto's, the dogs are in the back, and I'm already having like a really awful 72 hours. I get into my car's new. Sue,
Oh, yeah. Subaru.
Bitch decides to just not have CarPlay work. Like, it just doesn't work. You know what CarPlay is, right?
Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm turning on music because I want to listen to some music. Jenny has a song that she wants me to listen to, and that's part of, like, something that we really connect with is music.
Yep.
And she's like, I want to play the song for you, but it's not working, and the volume's not turned up. I was like, well, turn the volume up. Still nothing. I was like, I did not pay this much money for this to not work. And I'm already on the edge. Like, I'm on the edge of not glory, but the edge. Okay? Like, I'm tiptoeing over the edge.
That's called a ledge.
Yeah. The ledge.
I'm on the ledge.
And when I get overwhelmed, I always start yelling at the universe. I'm just like, the universe doesn't want this for me. Fuck you, Lars. Like, I really go off on the universe. Like,
oh, wow. You're brave.
I get real fucking mad. I really need to invest in a boxing punching bag or something. This testosterone got me. I'm in the angst stage right now. I'm fucking mad.
I want to go to those rooms where you destroy everything.
Yeah, Rage Room.
Yeah. That's the epitome of American society right now.
Yeah.
We are so sad and angry that we will spend money to destroy things that are not ours.
So we sit in the parking lot for like 15 minutes and I'm trying to get this thing to work because I was like, my anxiety is like, I have to get this to work before I go home. And I finally get it to work.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, this is the cherry on the motherfucking top of this 72 hours. You just get so mad.
I know that the slightest inconvenience of anything
sets you off.
Yeah.
That was me a couple days ago, but I'm okay now.
Well, so you were talking about letting things out. in therapy yesterday, I told Erica, I said, Nicholas got a little snippy with me today. Again, I know like both of us are not in like the best headspace right now.
Yeah.
But, I realized, I let a lot of people get snippy with me. That are a lot of people in my life. I allow them to get snippy with me. And then I just don't say anything. And she goes, Jaron, you got to let it out.
You have to.
And I said, no, I can't do that. And she goes, why can't you do that, Jaron? I love when she does that, because I love when I say I can or cannot do something, and then she asks me why I can or cannot do it. Because she's going to come back with, you can or you can't do that.
Yeah.
I said, I can't do that, Erica. And she goes, why can't you do that, Jaron? I said, that's not very mature of me. Who says that not acting like that is an immature thing?
She's had that conversation with me before, because I've talked to her before about how fucking mad I can get.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I just want to fucking scream and just act like a petulant child.
Yes.
And she's like, you need to.
But I don't want to do that, because I don't want people to look at me and be like, oh, wow, you can't get your shit together? How mature of you.
Who's saying that? All the people in the house?
She goes, imagine. She goes, let's role play for a second. I'm Nicholas. And I say that, and you know the tone, the everything. And I said, I can hear it in my head right now. And she goes, all right. So then she said what Nicholas said, and then I came back with something, and then I go, and then he would say this, or he might say this, or if this gets said, then I'm going to immediately shut down, because I would rather fawn the fuck out of the situation than defend myself. And she goes, you're so soft-spoken. I can't see you getting fired up like that. Yeah. And we both joke about it because it is funny. And I was like, Erica, I used to pop off all the time, sis. And we would be having an argument about something that didn't even make any fucking sense, but at least the words that were coming out of my mouth were coming out of my mouth before I had to think about them. Now I have to think about what I'm going to say before I say it.
But you should always think before you speak.
Oh, right, because you don't want to say something that's you can't take back, right?
Right.
But it's that disconnection between what my mind is saying. And even then, it's not going to be anything that's going to be too terribly mean. But God, the fuck did you just say to me? Don't fucking talk to me like that. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to say that. And the one time I defended myself, and you know who it was, and I said, don't fucking talk to me like that. And I have never in my life been yelled at like that in my whole world.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Anyway, is there anything else about mental health that you want to talk about? This is a mental health check-in, folks. You guys, I know that we were going to do something gay every week. We are doing something gay today. We're all fucking going through it. So every once in a while, we need a trauma dump because. So I hope you guys are okay with this. Anyway, that's
I'm
the people
sweating.
pleaser.
I should not have worn this shirt. I'm sweating.
Lars came over in a long sleeve shirt, and I told him, I said, I almost made a comment about how your long sleeve shirt is too warm for this time of year, but I'm making hot tea right now, so I don't have any right to say anything.
It's my goosebump shirt.
It is cute.
Thank you.
This actually happened last Thursday before we recorded, but
no. Did you poop your pants?
No. I just was so focused on the ballroom episode that I completely forgot to tell you that hey, I did something silly.
Okay.
I ran over 2 traffic cones. I finally did it. I hit the state flower. I wasn't paying attention. I ran over one, realized I was running over it, and that I had crossed into the construction zone area. Got out of the construction zone area, hit another cone. The second cone that I hit knocked the first one out from underneath my car, and then I drove about a quarter mile to a half mile down the street with the cone stuck underneath my car, and I could hear it, and I was like, I'm not getting out of my car. I'm not getting out of my car because I don't want anybody that saw me know that I know, because I'm embarrassed. And it just pops right out underneath my car in the center of the road. So the person that was behind me
has to hit it.
Well,
maneuver.
Yeah, because I was so embarrassed. I sped up a little bit, so there was distance between myself and
I just
her.
had this image of your tiny ass little car.
I know. The traffic cones, if you go fast enough and they're pinched just right, they will pop. They'll be right back standing up like nothing ever happened.
Like the water bottle challenge.
Yeah. I told Lars this, but I haven't told you folks this yet. One day, Nicholas woke up early in the morning. He was getting ready to go to the gym before he went to work. And when he came back into the bedroom, I was like maybe 25% awake. And I pulled myself off the bed and I said, "What are you doing?" And then without even giving him a chance to respond, I said, "What am I doing? I'm sleeping." And then threw myself right back into the pillow. He goes, "Didn't even give me a chance to answer. What are you doing?" "What am I doing? I'm sleeping." And if anybody knows Nicholas, that man could sleep in until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning. I don't get it. He loves it. His mom told me that he was like that his whole life. He'll sleep.
Really?
He'll sleep until he absolutely has to get up. Because of that incident, there's been another incident. I fell asleep.
No.
I fell asleep watching something on TV, and when I get into, we call it getting into formation, which is when I get on my side and I lay my head on the pillow and I get ready for Dozer to come be my little spoon.
Yeah.
So I'm in formation, knowing that I'm watching something that I plan on falling asleep to.
Right.
And it gets really quiet and I lifted my head and I went, "It's wackadoodle time. It is wackadoodle time." And went back to sleep. And 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
Weeks go by. I'm in the kitchen with Nicholas and I said that to him. I said, "Oh, it is wackadoodle time." And he goes, "Actually, you know what? What is that? Because you said that one night while you were sleeping." I said, "I did?" He goes, "Yeah, I've completely forgotten about it until now. You just lifted your head off the pillow and said, 'It is wackadoodle time. It is wackadoodle time.'" What does
it mean?
It's a thing from TikTok.
Oh, Jesus. It's eating your brain.
Well, you know what? I'm not allowed to do drugs anymore, so I might as well let something.
I would rather have you just submerge yourself in TikTok than anything.
Ugh, man.
Please.
And the last but not least, Padam.
What?
All right, so Kylie Minogue has a new song,
Yeah.
Padam.
Okay.
It's been out for a couple weeks. The gays are now using it to communicate with each other. So, gays, Padam.
What does it mean?
Anything.
Oh no.
It means anything. It's I'm living. It's I'm fulfilling a fantasy. Are you gay? It's the new like limp wrist SpongeBob meme.
Oh.
Padam, Padam, Padam. And then you like, okay, great. There was a guy that there was a guy that was doing a skit of like cruising. Do you know what cruising is?
Yes.
Okay. If anybody doesn't know, we'll do that on a different day. However, he was cruising. We pretended to be cruising, and he walks by the guy, and he stops. He turns his head and he goes, "Padam," and then the hot daddy goes, "Padam," and then the twink goes, "Padam," and then they walked off together. Obviously, it was a skit.
Ooh,
However,
girl.
like,
Yeah. All right.
yeah. So I be in the gym and I'm like, "Padam."
That's like a perfect segue into my thing that I was talking about.
What is it?
Molly houses in the 18th century.
Just perfect. Do you mind if I go pee first?
Sure.
Okay, because I know that what you're gonna do is going to take too long, but I do gotta piss. I'd rather be known as the pants pooper, not the pants pisser. All right, so now that this Padam is pissed in the potty, what are we doing today, Lars?
So going back and talking through different like not unspoken, but silent people in the LGBT. I'm trying to get
stories in the LGBTQI.
I'm trying to get better about saying it. The LGBTQIA plus.
Mm-hmm. Lettuce, bacon, guacamole, and tomato inside a wrap, and more.
Wow.
I have a lot of time on my hands to think.
That could be helpful though, remembering. But another thing, so when we talked about Harrison Post
and
his story, I thought it would be interesting to dive into a time in history that's quite early on.
Okay.
So the 18th century. And the 18th century for me is very fascinating just because I don't know, I've just always been drawn to it. So the 18th century is your 1700s. And I hear often about, especially like conservatives or people who just don't know a lot about queer history, that, homosexuality wasn't really a big thing back then. Or it wasn't
transness is like a new thing.
yeah, like talking about how like this is a new phenomenon, but it's not.
Okay.
And
I'm so glad you're doing this today.
yeah, and I think bringing the 18th century into the equation will shed a lot of light on the history of how old it can go back. Because we know that you and I know ancient Greeks, like Romans, hella back in the day.
Yeah.
But something that is a little bit more
Egyptians.
You feel like maybe it wouldn't be so talked about or so like what's the word I'm looking for?
Well known
or like familiar or
okay.
I don't know.
Commonly informed of.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about the raid of Mother Clap's Molly House.
Mother Clap.
And that has nothing to do with the clap. I looked it up.
Okay.
Because I wanted to know if it had anything to do with like, oh, you got the clap.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I've got the clap.
It has nothing to do with that.
The clap. That's not chlamydia. That's gonorrhea, right?
I think so.
Okay. I've had the clap.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Antibiotics took care of it.
Great.
But don't get used to it because at some point it'll become antibiotic resistant and you're stuck with it. So don't worry, Mama Terry. It only happened once. It was a long time ago.
With going back to Stonewall,
okay,
we kind of symbolize that as like the beginning of like Pride,
right?
Like what we would know as like our modern day, like the starting of like the Pride or being able to be as like one as a community. Mm-hmm. So the raid on Mother Clap's Molly House was similar to that.
Okay.
And this happened in 1726.
So almost 300 years ago.
Yeah. Like Stonewall, there were, which we, like, we have gay bars now. Mm-hmm. Back then, it was called a Molly House.
Okay.
So these were either inns, taverns, or even private residences that had a facade that was just a tavern, but it was actually a meeting place for men.
Okay.
Who wanted just community, wanted to hook up, basically just having a place to be as one together.
Is this also similar to like harlots?
Yes.
Where it was like a whorehouse.
Right.
Okay, so like
but
downstairs
now it's
like a bar, upstairs is like rooms to rent by the minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
sounds like my kind of palace.
Right? No kidding. The story of Mother Clap, she was in England, so this is not in the US.
Okay.
She was an older woman who owned one of the most famous Molly houses in 18th century London. Specifically, we're dealing with the 1720s.
Okay.
Again, a Molly house was where homosexual men would meet to engage in sexual intercourse or just for the sake of camaraderie and community. Molly houses were common among London and were also, of course, hidden in plain sight most of the time. There is mention of different covers of Molly houses, but are referred to as coffee houses.
Okay. Do they also have some tea there?
I'm sure they did.
Pinkies high in my asshole.
It's sometimes even referred to as taverns, which were not, but those were not so common.
Okay.
The law called them disorderly houses.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
this orderly popo.
So if
is it an orderly like somebody in a hospital? Yeah,
maybe.
Girl, look at how fucking wrinkly your scrubs are. This orderly. Maybe that's a patient. I don't know. Somebody let me know.
Write to us. It would not be uncommon to see men of all classes present, even the elite.
Ooh.
Again, the queer code, some things never change. So when we were talking about, you said panya?
Padam.
Padam. So like, it's code.
Yeah.
Some things never change. Mother Clap's Molly House is located in Field Lane, Holborn, which is the district of central London, is mostly recognized as an offshoot or alleyway we see in films or photographs.
Okay.
So like if you're watching like Sweeney Todd, where they like go back into those alleyways, that's what we're talking about.
Right, fuck her right in the pussy. I watched Harlots on Hulu.
I love Harlots. That show.
I know.
I cried at the
glad
end.
it ended because I was like, y'all are getting too much.
Let's get deep in there.
Yeah. Can I have my 2 pence, sir?
2 pence, sir. Although she did not own the home, it was owned by her husband, John Clapp. He would occasionally stop by, but took little interest in her enterprise and never intervened.
Oh.
With that, she took advantage of the opportunity. Her home was particularly popular, not because of the location, but more so because of her wishes to cater well to her customers.
Ooh, she had it all.
She did. It is believed that she was in it more for pleasure than for profit, especially because of her willingness to form close relationships with the men and would speak on their behalf for their character in court if and when needed. So she was the first fag hag.
The biggest fruit fly.
That is so progressive for that time of
1726?
Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, hello, darling.
Being a dandy.
What pleasures do you seek this evening? I'm looking for a prolapsing pig. B1. His name is Jeffrey. They wouldn't even say things like that. They'd be like, "Oh, my dear, I am looking for a man who buds roses from his derriere."
They would call them the gentlemen of the back door.
I am looking for a gentleman who has a rose growing in his back door. Oh my God.
It was all code. Because, like, you know how we talked about last episode where you had the hankies.
Yeah.
And then you had the lesbians had the wrists tattoos and like even the earrings.
Oh yeah, left is right, right is wrong. Puka shell necklaces.
Yeah, like so like I said, some things never change. Like back then, like you had more of like phrases than you had like attire. Even though that you had like dandies, you would call them dandies who were very like elaborate.
Yeah. Well, fashion was nothing back then like what it is today.
No. And you could have like a completely straight cis white man in all pink and blue and he would you know what I mean? Like back then it was a little different.
Yeah, because assigning pink and blue to boys and girls, that didn't happen until like our grandparents' lifetime.
Yeah. Of course, like there's a difference between like a dandy and a fop than just like your average 18th century male who was
a fop.
Yes. So a dandy and a fop were like, those were coinciding terms for like somebody who was flamboyant or someone who was like, who would be a homosexual.
I was like, he got that fop.
But I guess in a roundabout way, what I mean is like any man would wear any color.
Right.
But you have more of like an elaborate dress.
Okay.
Is more tied to like we would nowadays would be tied to somebody who is gay.
Like peacocks.
Yeah.
Because you gotta put your feathers on, honey.
Yeah. The house was large enough for dancing and fiddling in the main room.
Fiddling an instrument.
And in every room, a bed with accoutrements. So like toys.
Oh, okay.
She was said to have a fire going most of the time and lots of booze available to her clients. Her house was also popular because of what she called a marrying room.
Like a honeymoon suite?
Yes. It was a large room with a large bed that would be protected by Clapp's live-in male servant. Lack of a better word. He wasn't really a servant, but he was just kind of like a man that lived there that she needed to do things.
An assistant of sorts.
Yeah.
Okay.
His name was Eccleston. Eccleston would die of either old age or gall fever. We don't really know a whole lot about his death, but that room was protected at all times. So if you had like anybody would try to come in, like there would be somebody always standing guard,
like a bodyguard.
So it actually had a locked door.
Ooh, could you imagine the information that person would have?
Oh God!
Only the
elites,
highest
royalty. I'm sure were there. Like
I saw Father John over at the marrying room last night. Do you know how many men pegged his little back door?
Imagine the trust.
It was a swinging door.
Imagine the trust you would have to have of those people that you were catering to. Amazing.
You did say that she was like somebody to speak on your character in court.
Yeah, that's why they called her Mother Clapp. She was mother. There's that word again.
Mommy. I love when mother turns into mommy.
That is crazy to me that little girl even thought of that. Now, like most Molly houses or even like whore houses back in the day, you would have like live-in either prostitutes or Mollies. She had 2 live-in Mollies.
Okay.
That she grew really close to. One was Thomas Phillips and another one was William Griffin. And I think it's important to say their names because a lot of these we don't have names,
Yeah.
you know. So the raid.
Okay.
You're gonna just roll your eyes and be like, "Oh, of course."
Why did the deputy get caught?
The reason of this is
Okay.
pretty wild.
Oh my God.
So,
Spill the tea.
so sometime around October of 1724, a man named Mark Partridge had a quarrel with his beau by the name of Harrington. We don't know his first name.
Okay.
Everything in the reports doesn't give us one.
Okay.
From what historians can put together is that Harrington told someone that he was a homosexual,
Okay.
and Mark found out about it. People just don't out other people. Just don't do it. Mark became.
Also, it's not your fucking place to be telling other people about somebody else's self, because that was ripped away from me. Obviously, like, looking back, great, happy somebody else ripped the Band-Aid for me, but at the same time, that was a special moment in my life, in any queer person's life, that only they should have the time to do.
Right.
Only they should decide when the time is right to do that.
Also, back when it was a capital offense to be gay.
Oh, okay.
So, like,
I was like, damn, that needs to be a capital offense now.
I don't want to say that we're fortunate because we still have oppression in this day and age, but it's illegal to kill somebody because of who they are.
As of this very moment?
As of this very moment. Back then, if they found out that you were gay, there was like, there was hardly any court. Like, it was just, oh, you're gay, you're done.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to either imprison you, kill you, fine you, and then after all is said and done, your reputation is just going to be shit.
Yeah.
So, like, the stakes were a lot higher back then.
Yeah.
So going back to the story, Mark became extremely aggravated and felt betrayed.
Of course.
So in turn, Mark, wanting to protect himself, started spreading a rumor about how Harrington was a frequent flyer at all the Molly houses in London. So there is a rumor mill going on.
Okay.
At first, this rumor was just contained into the Molly culture. Then it got out of the culture and into the city, and it got to the constables, so the officers. The constables got in touch with Partridge and is believed to have been coerced in becoming an informant. So Partridge led them to numerous Molly houses throughout the city and eventually leading to Mother Clap's bona fide pad. So Partridge introduced them to Mother Clap as his husband. Boom, immediately in.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Partridge would not be the only queer traitor. There was two other men named Thomas Newton and Edward Courtney that would be linked to Molly House drama or Molly culture, but that's another story for another time. Like, it's incredible how many resources that I found or stories from firsthand accounts of other homosexual men that were working for the police.
Oh, to protect themselves.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Like, current day, that's like closeted gay Republicans. That's like Lindsey Graham. That's like Lady G.
Yeah.
I understand the need to protect yourself. That comes with a side of self-hatred.
What goes around comes around too.
Yeah.
Back to Mother Clap's house. One of the constables or informants named Samuel Stevens described what he saw on Sunday, the 14th of November in 1725. Now, this is really interesting.
Okay.
This is a first-hand account from an informant when he was spending some time there.
Okay.
This is what he saw. Quote, he said, I found between 50 and 40 men making love to one another. Sometimes they would sit on one another's laps, kissing in a lewd manner and using their hands indecently. Then they would get up, dance, and make curtsies and mimic voices of women. Oh, fire, sir! Pray, sir, dear sir, Lord, how can you serve me so? I swear I'll cry out. You're a wicked devil, and you're a bullface, you little dear toad, come bus. Then they'd hug and play and toy and go out by couples into another room on the same floor to be married, as they called it. So the marrying room.
Oh my God.
It's the most flamboyant description of a gay man I could possibly...
I am so turned on right now.
Sorry, I just broke it.
I am just like... I'm sorry, how many men?
40 or 50.
What
like,
were they doing?
So she had a really popular house. That was one night, bro.
Man, could you imagine what sexual revolutions were like before STDs? Like, not a care in the world.
No, just fucking everybody.
Yeah, that there is a possibility that you would get something. I mean, the worst case scenario, you'd get like a shitty dick and UTI.
We did have syphilis back in the 18th century, and there was probably a couple more, and I can't remember, but we could talk about that later.
Okay.
So, moving forward to the raid again. So, in February of 1726, a group of constables raided Mother Clap's Molly house and arrested 40 men. They blocked off all routes of escape to make sure they didn't get away. The Mollies were taken to Newgate Prison, where they stayed until their sentence. Now, Newgate Prison is like every 18th century, 19th century prison, even today's prisons. There was a whole other type of just debauchery that happened.
Yeah.
Like, this is not your like run of the mill, like
real danger stuff.
yeah. Like you're chained to a wall.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, like this is not like where you get 3-course meals
You're
in a cell.
You're looked at more like
An animal.
Yeah.
Well, they still are, but
Yeah.
I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say.
There are
Like,
state protections that say that you can only do so much.
Right.
Yeah.
like they weren't fed, they were whipped.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not cute.
Probably
Especially-
like, oh, I heard you were a knuckle sucker. Why don't you suck on my knuckle and I'll
Yeah.
let you live today?
Yeah.
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 Again, that still happens today. Anyway.
Right. Many of the men were released on insufficient evidence. Some were fined. Some were imprisoned for a longer sentence. A couple of them were sentenced to pillory, which is where you put your head in the
Oh, yeah.
and just out for just the people to do
Public
whatever the hell,
humiliation.
whatever they could do to you, they would just do to you. And we know that 3 were hanged at Tyburn Gallows, which was a huge gallows in London.
Uh-huh.
So 3 of them were actually put to death.
Yeah.
Mother Clapp was found guilty and sentenced to stand in the pillory in Smithfield Market. She was also to pay a fine of 20 marks and spend 2 years imprisonment. During her punishment, she fell off the pillory once and fainted several times. It is not known what became of her or even if she survived prison, which is really sad.
Wow.
One last thing that I wanted to include here, because this really struck me as I was going through research and like firsthand accounts of people being caught and their testimonies and what they would say when they were being caught.
Anything to get out of being in trouble.
Yeah. So there was a man named William Brown. He was a homosexual charged with sodomy and sentenced to stand in a pillory at Morrisfield and to pay 10 marks and to suffer 2 months imprisonment. So, I mean, it could have been worse for him, but what he said really struck me. He said, "I did it because I thought I knew him, and I think there is no crime in making what use I please of with my own body." That made me just feel like sad for them.
Yeah.
And also how it's just not so much different
Yeah. It's almost like,
than what we feel now,
yeah.
you know?
What was it? Our first episode when we talked about like that ebb and flow of like, it's okay. It's not okay. It's okay. It's not okay. Like,
It's been that way since millennia, since Adam and Eve. If we believe in Adam and Eve.
well, I was going to say, I don't even know if, I think really until Christianity really started to kind of take over the world.
Yes.
Because
There was also sodomy. It was also illegal for a man and a wife to have anal sex.
oh,
So the Buggery Act by King Henry,
the Bugger Act,
the Buggery Act,
Buggery Act.
when he was king, it forbid any type of anal. Didn't matter if you were gay or not. It was just something you just didn't do.
Wow.
Yeah. So it even stretches beyond that.
Oh, honey, it stretches. It will stretch.
So yes, the Christian religion, definitely harps on it, but a lot of other religions do too.
what an episode. Mental health and Molly
Yeah.
houses.
Yeah, dog. But yeah, that's all I got.
That was great.
Really?
Well, yes, I am
Okay,
so.
good.
I feel so much better than how I did when I started this episode.
Good. Good. So at the fort, we should start a Molly house. Oh my God, Tom would kill me. He'd be like, "Lars, that's a little racy."
Who's Tom?
He's the president of the fort. I love him. I love him.
I
to
was like,
pieces.
Joe Biden is your president.
Anyway,
Hey everybody. So there was a weird jump cut recently, and that was because we had a political conversation
yeah,
that we decide. I am deciding at this very moment before I even edit. Hello, future Jaron. Make sure you cut that shit out.
yeah, we don't want that to be part of our.
Not all the
room.
time, but
Yeah.
But you guys, I mean, Trumpy's in trouble. Anyway, that's all we have to say on that. Well, I need to go make some dinner. And I got to show you the Padam music video before you go home, too.
Oh, let's do it.
So,
We love you all.
we love you guys so much. We will do one more gay episode next week, and then we'll hold off on the gay history stuff for at least 11 more months. Anyway, say gay, be proud.
Drink water.
Oh my God, drink water.
Please drink some water.
Drink some water. If you take meds, take your meds.
And shout out to all my
Oh, yes.
my friends
Your kids.
at the coffee shop. Miguel, that's what I call him at work. Miguel Foster for listening.
And Kelly.
And Kelly. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all tuning in and supporting me and thinking that we're funny and cute.
Oh my God. That's the thing. I know that we're funny. It's just other people need to know that we're funny.
I know. Yeah.
So tell your friends. Tell your friends.
And Lizzie. Lizzie.
Anyway.
Anyway.
I hope you guys had a great Hot Dad's Day. And
Hot Dad's Day.
You'll see us next Monday. Oh, did we say we love them?
We love you.
We did. Love you.
Bye.